Guys, what's good? Welcome back to getting more jacked. So one of the main things for a jacked physique, if you want that aesthetic look, is you want to create that upper chest shelf, right? When you do a side chest pose, or even if you're just standing, you have a t-shirt on, you want it filled out all through the upper chest. And that's an area a lot of us lag. And I know for a long time I lagged behind. So I'll take you guys through the things I've improved on in the last 5-6 years to get my upper chest a little more developed. Exercises wise and what I think about when I do the movements, but also a lot of things you guys will notice during this whole video is I talk about mobility and positioning. A lot of these gains that we're missing out on, they're a lot of positioning based, right? You can do a lot of upper chest stuff that I'll show you, but if you don't have the mobility, right positioning and the right intensity in the gym, nothing's really gonna happen. So let's get right into it. Guys, so one of my favorite movements to just open up that chest and get those shoulders moving a little bit better is a dumbbell pullover. You can also do a rope pullover with a cable if you don't have a dumbbell, obviously, but hopefully you have a dumbbell if you're in a gym. The main things here that I want to think about is breathing, right? So think about how can you manipulate your position internally, right? It's going to be through the breath. So don't overthink this part. I know it sounds a little complicated, but all I want you to do is try to breathe through your nose or try to keep your breaths as relaxed as possible while you're doing the motion. And as you're going back, right, I want to think about a slow inhale, so you're expanding, right? And on the way down, you come back and you do a slow exhale. So you go inhale, exhale, right? What this is going to allow you to do is allow your shoulder blades to move a little bit better, and it's going to allow you to get in this position where your chest is a little bit more angled upwards rather than always hunched forward. Okay, so just do 2 sets, 12 to 15 here, but instead of thinking about 12 to 15 reps, think about 12 to 15 breaths. Okay, so 2 sets, 12 to 15 at the start of your workout. Along with this, another movement I would recommend you do is some sort of like a dead hang, which will allow you to just get your shoulders up here again and get this mobility going. And the biggest thing here I want you to think about again is breathing, right? So say for example, you're not the best with dead hangs, your grip keeps giving out, put a bench underneath your legs. So that way, when you're standing on something, your ribs and your pelvis are still pretty stacked. You don't have this crazy arch to the low back, right? Where you're creating mobility through the low back. You want to create it so you're holding with some slow breaths, inhale, exhale, and try to keep the breath as relaxed as possible the entire time. So try those mobility drills out. There's a bunch of others out there. You can obviously YouTube stuff, but try these, and these should really help you open up your shoulders first before we get into training our chest. Guys, so now we've created some shoulder mobility. So now you want to utilize the positions we've created, right? What I mean by that is like, we've gotten our chest angle up here. We've gotten shoulder blades nice and loose, you know, you feel nice. Your upper chest is angled nicely now. You're not hunched over like this. So now you want to use this position, right? So the first movement I'm going to be recommending is going to be a low to high cable fly. The reason I'm recommending this is because we're trying to grow our upper chest, right? So for your upper chest, the fibers go this way. So you want to hit them in this angle, right? And the beauty with the cable fly as your first movement, you're not only obviously going to get a nice chest stimulus, you're also going to get the shoulder blades moving, right? So now your shoulder blades are going to be nice and warmed up. So when you go into like a bigger press that I'll show you after this, your upper back is going to have more stabilization. You're going to be like, oh shit, like I feel this position better rather than just pumping weight, right? And your upper chest is going to be nice and stimulated so that when you go into something else, you're able to feel your chest a little bit more, okay? So the biggest thing with a low to high cable fly is understand it's the hardest at the squeeze, at the short position, right? So what I want you to do is focus on the squeeze position, right? So when I come forward, I want you to pause there, okay? And the biggest thing here, the entire time, keep the chest angle up. Don't just bring the cable down up here and then you start going downwards, right? You want to keep that chest angle up so you get that upper chest contraction, right? So the way I'm going to set it up is I'm going to have the handles right outside shoulder width. I'm going to step forward a little bit, and then I'm going to take an inhale right here, upper chest up, and then I'm going to have my elbows bent a little bit on the way back. And then when you're bringing the cables forward, this is where I want you to think about your elbows meeting together rather than your hands meeting together. What I mean by that is like a lot of us when we fly, we end up going like this, right? We're just doing Brampton reps. I don't want you to do that because we're trying to get jacked here, right? So inhale, keep that chest angle up, elbows bent to the back is totally fine. At the forward position, think about letting your elbows meet together. Nice and slow on the way back. You can stop right here. and then pause in the middle. Nice and stretch on the way back, and then pause in the middle. This movement is hardest right here, right? So I don't want you to do no fast reps like that. We're not trying to go crazy. Okay, so do 2 sets of that, 12 to 15 paused reps in the middle. And I'm telling you, your upper chest is gonna get a nasty pump. I got a pump just showing you guys, right? So that should be your first movement. Guys, so the second movement to get your chest nice and juicy is gonna be the Incline Smith Machine Press. If you don't have a Smith machine, you can do an incline bench as well. The main reason, obviously you can load it quite a bit, and this can be the main output exercise when it comes to your upper chest, right? So that way, over the years, you're trying to get stronger on this. And if you can bench a lot of, upper chest on this Incline Smith, your upper chest is bound to grow, right? But before we get into it, I want to show you guys a couple hacks for the setup of the Incline Smith. Shout out Coach Kartar for this tip. But the main thing is, first, take the bench out and just lie down on it like normally wherever you want the bench, right? So say like I'm gonna lie down here, and I want the machine to come down right here to like mid chest level. So that's, for me, it's right here, and I'll kind of keep my thumb on here, and I'm like, okay, that's where it is. And then I'm just gonna draw a line on this rubber bench. I'm like, okay, this is where I want the Smith machine to come down to, right? So I would go and push this back, and I would try to bring this down till where the line is, and I'm like, okay, so it's a little bit high right now, so that means I'm gonna move the bench a little bit more back. There you go. And now it's right on the line that I created, okay? So now if I put this up, hopefully the trick actually has worked here. And when I lie down and I go right there, wow, what a beautiful press now, right? So this is how you set up the Incline Smith. And another thing just to be mindful of, you want to make sure both sides are even, right? So once you have the setup for your chest, right, if you go right in front of it, facing it, you want to make sure it is completely even in terms of the shoulders, right? So I don't want to have too much on this side, too much on this side. And the easy way you can tell, if the bench is in the middle, you want to keep it so both sides, especially this ring right here, it's even on both sides, like the ring, right? You don't want to have too much on one side, less on the other side. Okay, so that's how you set up the Incline Smith. Now when it comes to the Incline Smith machine, when you're actually doing the movement, the biggest thing when you're kind of going through it, you want to make sure your wrist, elbow, shoulder, everything is kind of stacked together. You don't want to have your elbows too tucked in, but you don't want to have them too flared out. This is a common thing, I think, in personal training in general. It's like we tell people when they're doing any push movements, tuck your elbows, tuck your elbows. But think about how your chest is, right? If you want to get a nice jack chest, you want to have some sort of stretch right here. You want to have the elbows kind of out. You don't want to have them tomb all the way like this. You're just doing massive tricep work. You know what I'm saying? So having them a bit out, don't be scared of that. It's not going to mess your shoulders up as long as you're executing properly and progressing over time. So now, you have the bench set up. Just grip this right outside shoulder width right here. And easy way I like doing it is I like kind of checking how far my thumb is off these rings. And this kind of keeps it nice and lined with my wrist and elbow, nice and stacked. Now, the biggest thing here, once you have it unracked from the bar, is keeping that chest angle up the entire time the bar's coming down. Keep that chest angle up, slight pause, and then pump all the way. You don't even have to fully lock out, because then you're losing tension off the chest, right? So you can end it off right here where the tension is still on the chest. So nice and slow, keep that chest angle up, your upper back is digged into the bench, and then you press up, think about pushing to the inside of the palm. Nice and slow on the way down, push. Nice and slow on the way down, keep that tension on the chest, push to the inside of the palm. Okay, so if you maintain those 3 cues where your chest angle is up, your wrist and elbow are stacked together, and then you're pushing through the inside of the palm, you're gonna get a pretty juicy chest contraction. And the beautiful thing about this movement, you can load it fairly heavy over time. So this is second movement to blow up your upper chest. Guys, so third exercise to blow up your upper chest is gonna be an incline hammer press. If you're a short king like me and you're hanging off the bench like this, maybe putting some stuff underneath your legs, totally fine. The way I'm gonna structure it is I'm just gonna have a really wide stance, and I'm gonna shimmy forward on this. And the reason I shimmy forward is just so I start off at an angle where I'm just pushing off the whole the machine right away, or the handles right away, instead of starting back here where I'm actually the weakest, right? So understand, the hammer incline is gonna actually get hard at the top, right? So you don't want to kind of use all your energy at the bottom. Some people also throw in yoga blocks right here in the machine, so that way when you start the machine off, right, the yoga block falls off and you're just starting off right in the mid-range, right? So if you have yoga blocks, you can start putting them here if you want, so that way you're not starting off at a weak position. So now, once your upper chest is angled upwards, the main thing here again, you want to have your wrist and your elbows stacked together. You don't want to have your wrist inwards like this, right? It's going to mess your wrist up and you're not going to get jacked whatsoever, okay? So have your wrist, elbow stacked, take an inhale, get that chest angle up, shimmy forward on the bench a little bit, push the heels into the ground, and then push the inside of the palm up. Pause right here, then slow on the way down. You don't have to go extreme on the stretch here, because again, like I mentioned, where the weakest there. Right now, just a plate, so obviously I'm a pretty strong guy there, right? But you want to kind of end off right here. Pause at the top. Think about slowing the way down, and then push inside of the palm on the way up. Slow on the way down, pause right here, and then pause at the short position, control on the way down, while the wrist and the elbow are still stacked together, okay? If you don't have this machine at your gym, another alternative I'll show you in a second is a high incline dumbbell press. Guys, so I'll show you guys what the high incline bench actually looks like. So obviously this is flat bench, if you don't know, right? It's flat. The second big thing, this is gonna be a lower incline, right? Where basically this is just like 2 notches up. This is similar to the Incline Smith. Now I'll show you what high incline looks like, right? High incline would be literally just 1 higher than that, so nothing crazy. More higher than this is likely going to be a shoulder press, right? So here we're trying to hit the upper chest. This is the angle you want the bench to be at. Biggest thing, since you're already at this angle, you don't want to have this crazy lower back, upper back arch, right? A lot of us, when we go on bench or like dumbbell press, we arch our backs like crazy, right? And again, if you're doing that, make sure you arch into the upper back, not your low back. Anyways, it's a different topic. But for this, make sure when you're on it, it's already angling you upwards, so you don't have to do a crazy arch. But this is the high incline. So I'll show you guys a couple reps on this, right? Remember, elbows, wrist, stack that shit, push through the inside of the palm. Don't be scared to let the elbows flare a little bit more than normal, right? You don't have to fully tuck them in, but you don't have to fully flare them, but keep it moderate. Keep it at that normal mid angle, right? This angle is good right here. Think about pressing up till here instead of locking out. You don't have to fully lock out. Tension is right here. Keep that wrist over the elbow. Constant tension. Nice and slow on the way down. Up. Nice and slow on the way down. Up. My upper chest is fairly pumped. But yeah, guys, those are the 3 main movements I would recommend if you want to blow up your upper chest. Again, please don't skip mobility. Secondly, low to high cable fly. Make sure you do higher rep range. Trying to get a nice stimulus there. 2 sets, 1 set, totally fine. And then an Incline Smith, you can do 1 heavy set, 6 to 10, and then a lighter set, maybe 8 to 12. And then high incline dumbbell, you can stick within that 8 to 12 rep range. The biggest thing with everything is progression, right? Performance in the gym is the main thing that'll drive how your body looks, but then that stimulus has to be combined with the nutrition like we talked about. So yeah, that's a quick summary. If you guys want, you know, ready-made programs, things like that, you want to have a starting point, check out the Trying to Get Jacked app, free 7-day trial. Obviously, if you want one-on-one coaching, you can also check out tryingtogetjacked.com, fill out the application and whatnot. But yeah, guys, those are the main things to grow your upper chest, get jacked, and let me know if that helped. Let me know what else you guys want to see. Comment, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. And I'll see you guys at the next video. Let's keep getting jacked.